All right, we're going to finish going through the study guide here with question number 6. All right, below our two tables are the tables of two functions. We have function h of x and we have function g of x. All right, we need to complete the phrase. So it says the x-intercept, remember the x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. So the x-intercept of blank is larger or greater than the x-intercept of blank. So we're comparing x-intercepts to x-intercepts. And remember, our x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. So y is equal to 0 in this table for h of x, there, and in this table, there. Okay, so what we're comparing here is 2 and 6. So because 6 is larger than 2, that means that the x-intercept of g of x is larger or greater than the x-intercept of h of x. Okay, now we're going to talk about the y-intercept. The y-intercept, remember, is when x is equal to 0. So x is equal to 0 here and here. So we are comparing -4 and -8. So the x-intercept of -4, so h of x, is larger than the y-intercept of g of x. Because remember, -4 is greater than or larger than -8, and -4 is the h of x function. All right, moving on to question number 7. The graph of the function is shown. So we have a function over here. All right. So first I'm going to look at this function. Is it a function? Well, yes, it's a function because it passes the vertical line test. So it says, which sentence correctly describes the function shown? So the graph does represent a function. Yes, the graph does not. So because that says does not represent a function, we can cross that out because this graph clearly does represent a function. Option C says the graph does represent a function. So that's correct. And then option D says the graph does not represent a function. Again, it says does not, so we can cross that out. Then it starts talking about whether it's linear or nonlinear. Well, remember, a linear function is a straight line. Is this a straight line? No, that line has a curve. So the graph does represent a linear function, and it is non-linear. So A is my correct answer. The reason why C is not their correct answer is because of right here. It says, and it is linear. That is not a linear function because there's a curve, and curve means non-linear. All right. Moving on to question 8. The height of a fish compared to the sea level as it jumps out of the ocean water can be represented by a function. So here we're looking at this function right here. The fish jumps out of the water and then falls down back into the sea. Now we're comparing our y values of height and our x values of time, not distance, okay? So which statement is false? So option A says the fish jumps a maximum of 9 inches. So we're talking about height here, 9 inches. And if you go over here to the graph, that is 9. So that is true. The fish reached its maximum height after 3 seconds. So when did this fish hit its maximum height? Yeah, right here at 3 seconds. So that's true. The fish reached its maximum height after 9 seconds. Well, if it reached its maximum height after 3 seconds, we already said that's true. Can it also reach its maximum height at 9 seconds? No, because at 9 seconds, it would be right here, and the fish is already back in the water. Oops, I need to circle that, not cross it out. So our correct answer here is C, because it's looking for the one that is false. Let's just make sure that option D is true as well. It says the fish landed in the water after 6 seconds. Landed in the water after 6 seconds. Well, here's 6 seconds, and that's when he's back in the water. So yes, that is also true. So option C is the one that is false. Just make sure that when you are reading this and taking this on the test that you are looking for the one that is false, not the ones that are true. All right, question number 9. The graph of a linear function has a positive slope. Describe the end behavior of the function. So remember when we talked about increasing and decreasing? Increasing had a positive slope, and then we had decreasing was a negative slope. So remember what we said is they either have the same behavior or they have opposite behaviors. So as the value of x increases, the value of y, oh, and we're missing the function. Oh, no, because it has a positive slope. Positive means increasing. So as the value of x increases, the value of y also increases because they have the same behavior. As the value of x decreases, the value of y also decreases. Okay, increase, increase, decrease, decrease, and that's because they have the same. If it's positive, then they are increasing and they have the same behavior. All right, last one, question 10. The costume department of a theater company is making cone-shaped hats for a play set in medieval times. Each hat will be covered with satin over its entire lateral surface area. The slant height of each will remain, guess what? Yada, 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 yada. I don't care. Don't need this. They're just trying to confuse you. All we have to do is read the graph. Because it says, what is the radius of the base? Radius of the base. Guess what? That's what they're giving it right here. What is the radius of the base when the area of the hat is 250 inches squared? So this is the lateral area of the hat. So all I have to do is look at this graph and look across. This point right here is when there's 250 inches squared of the hat. So what is the radius going to be? So I'm just going to go straight down here and read this number, and the radius of the base in inches will be 4 inches. So you just have to type in the number 4. All right, that is it for your Module 2 study guide. Your study guide and your gallery walk both are going to help you prepare for the test. All right.